I'm Leslie Dunning, Senior Crown Prosecutor.
Thoughts on the decision today?
The decision was left in the court's hands after reviewing all the evidence that was provided. The judge made a decision based on everything he heard, and so that's the end result.
Is there anything that the public can take away from this? I know in your closing arguments you said human trafficking isn't necessarily confined to a physical space. Does that verdict kind of prove that there's a bunch of meanings behind it, kind of?
Absolutely. Human trafficking can be found in very diverse and different ways. And as I said at the argument, it doesn't always mean somebody coming in over a crate. It could be human trafficking can happen in relationships. Human trafficking can happen in employment relationships, such as what we've seen in this case happen. So there are a lot of different forms, and we've got enough media and publication out there right now that if a person is feeling unsafe or doesn't understand the situation that they're in, that they seek out some help for that.
And how common is it for a human trafficking case to get to the stage where you actually have a guilty verdict?
I have not, in my experience, many of the cases I've run with human trafficking, I've not had a guilty verdict on human trafficking alone. So for Saskatchewan, this is one of the first human trafficking cases that has gone to trial, employment trafficking. So that's...
Building up. Was there any concern going into this trial, considering that oftentimes human trafficking cases or sexual assault cases often come down to a he said, she said scenario, considering that this case had limited witnesses? Was that a concern?
Yes, as I've said, human trafficking cases or any type of cases where it's a he said, she said can always be complex. We don't know how our witnesses are going to respond. Witnesses get nervous. I think we're well enough informed in this day and age about a trauma-informed approach when we're looking at our witnesses' evidence, allowing them time to get their evidence out in a meaningful way for the judge to make their decision about how he or she accepts that.
You've had cases that deal with human trafficking. What does that mean for cases that deal with human trafficking?
I think going forward, this case certainly sets a precedent for human trafficking cases because we don't have written decisions in our province. Certainly we rely a lot on what has happened in Ontario. They have the good brunt of cases where it comes to human trafficking, and those decisions are the ones that we rely on for our law and to understand that very complex area of law.
Considering that we have a lot of immigrants here in Saskatchewan that are working on work permits as their means of residence in Canada, how likely is it to see other cases in similar circumstances like this pop up now that there's coverage on somebody being found guilty of human trafficking in similar scenarios?
I think we'll see more as time goes on, but I also think that this hopefully would be a deterrent that people follow the law in the province and in the federal system as well, because that's why we have these laws out there, is to protect our temporary foreign workers and our newcomers.
Why did you think it was important to request they be taken into custody today?
They are looking at significant sentences from the Crown's point of view. There is mandatory minimum on human trafficking, so they're looking at custody.
Feel this verdict is a step forward for victims that may be facing certain circumstances to have confidence that justice system is there certain?
I would hope so. As I said, we presented the evidence. The judge took into consideration all of the evidence and made his decision based on that. So I am confident that victims can be assured that we do our best to prosecute our cases for present our evidence before court.